Courtney is an architect, myself I'm a landscape architect. She also loves Houston almost like a member of her own family. Courtney's talk advocates for a different perspective on the city that we all love and how it serves the people who live in it, like you. Ignite Houston's proud to bring to the stage another speaker pushing for a better Houston in her own unique way. ADD Plus Venture founder Courtney Brineger.
Hello, can you hear me? Is it good? Okay. Hello, how's everyone doing tonight? Good? So my name is Courtney Brineger. I'm a licensed architect, and I also happen to be a Houstonian. And I want to get things started off by doing a little quiz to see who else in the audience is a Houstonian. Good? Is your next door neighbor a public storage unit? If so, you might be a Houstonian. Not a bad setup if you just moved in, need to store a few things, but not so great if you need to borrow a cup of sugar. Is this where you like to go Christmas shopping? If so, you might be a Houstonian. I'm not talking about the adult novelty store. I'm talking about the high-end shopping mall behind it. Can't you see it? It's by the random lost skyscraper. Do your spring rolls taste a little ashy? If so, you might be a Houstonian. Where else would you have the convenience of settling funeral arrangements by picking up Thai food? Nothing like getting ice cream to go with grandma's cremation. So what's the big deal, you ask? So Houston's a little quirky. These are just random, harmless juxtapositions, right? What we really care about is freedom and letting developers and businesses do what they need to do to be successful. Why would you want to prevent that? Well, with this mentality that everyone's in it for himself, there's no consideration or entity dedicated to filling in the gaps. Our community centers are defined by buildings that you drive in and out of while running errands, but there's no interconnected fabric of community. We have gentrification, which is the process of low-income communities being pushed out by developers that want to cater to higher-income clientele. This is a process that happens in many urban areas, but it's rampantly happening here in the inner loop of Houston. In the process of developers doing whatever it takes to make the most profit, they're tearing apart historical communities. In the case of Acres Homes, the only form of defense residents have to create a residential place is they create deed restrictions because there's no zoning ordinances to protect them. We have communities here in our city that lack basic amenities such as a grocery store to get fresh, healthy food. If a developer can't financially justify building a grocery store in a low-income community, it just doesn't happen. There's no safety net. And unfortunately, this has happened repeatedly throughout our city. As you can see on the map on the next page, all those gray areas, those are food deserts. A food desert is where there's no grocery store within a 1 mile radius. 1 mile being the distance people are willing to walk before they consider another option. And it's not like no one lives in these areas. When you see it with this map overlay, the areas in orange and red have densities beyond 3,000 people per square mile. In total, 1 in 5 Houstonians is food insecure, meaning they do not have guaranteed sources of nutritional food, or they can't afford 3 meals a day. And on top of these food access issues, Houston has a poverty and crime rate 2 times the national average. About 70% of our inhabitants are overweight, and our unemployment's at 5.8%. So how do you solve these issues? I believe the solution lies in community. We developed this mentality that the ultimate form of success is self-reliance, but I don't think that's sustainable. We're ultimately part of ecosystems that are larger than ourselves. We need positive social connection to be healthy human beings. If you take a look back at the Romans, whose values influenced the creation of our own nation, they believed in building dignified places for both commerce and community. The Roman Forum was a public place where people could meet, exchange goods, and be connected to civic activity. Here in Houston, we do have our fair share of farmers markets, open markets, flea markets, which do promote that positive community interaction, but they're available at limited amount of times to a limited amount of people, and they're in temporary settings. We really need to expand this. And I don't think the solution is a central, grandiose Roman forum, but rather decentralized markets scattered throughout the city and built to the scale of a convenience store, but not a closed-off commercial chain on a large parking lot. Rather, open, approachable buildings, open markets, crafted from locally available materials, even junk, to signify to residents that hope can be created from what's lost. The open markets will create a visual icon for a community and be a gathering place for residents. open markets could be paired with either existing or new urban farms and be a permanent venue that farmers could sell their produce, and local residents would have an avenue to try being an entrepreneur and sell handcrafted goods. Connecting open markets with urban farms would create 1 mile radius nodes that could fill in the food gaps and be a revival initiative for underserved communities. If communities became economically revived enough, then they could support the development of full-service grocery stores. So these are the ideas that excite me. I plan to take this forward by creating a nonprofit architect as developer established called Adventure. If you want to be part of the conversation or join me, you can reach me through a website, email address, or an Instagram account. So thank you, and let's build up the growth.